Here's exactly what you need to know about the cost of living before you make a decision to come to Kenya. Nairobi can be very expensive depending on where you're staying, how much money you make, and the kind of life you want to live exactly. So, in today's video, I'm going to break down the cost of living. 2 years that I've been living in Nairobi, I think I'm the best plug for me to tell you exactly what you need to know before you come to Nairobi. My name is Ishmael Nzioka. I'm a budget traveler, traveling around Africa and across the world to inspire people to be able to travel as well. Let's start with food. Food can be expensive and cheap at the same time depending on where you're staying, how much money you want to spend. Either you're eating inside the house or you're going to eat in hotels. For me, for food, I spend at least, I think 7,000. I don't know how much that is. I'll convert and put it on the side of the screen. Let's say you want to buy like things like groceries. Example for me, I go and buy groceries at the markets. I don't buy groceries at the supermarkets because they are more expensive at the supermarkets. So for things like wheat flour, spaghetti, macaroni, cheese, and all those other stuffs, then I can buy them at the supermarkets. But when it comes to other groceries like greeneries and all that, then I have to go and buy them at the market because they're more cheaper there. That's how I cut my cost. Number 2, I'm going to talk about entertainment. Entertainment in Nairobi is in day, in out, 24/7. You will be entertained. And nightclubs, I mean, they are always open. In Westlands and Kilimani, those places, they're the best places for nightclubs. I will recommend check out Alchemist and Quiver Lodge. Also, when it comes to entertainment, it can be expensive depending on where you're going to party. To give you a budget of how much you will spend for like a night, you will spend like at least 2,000 to 3,000 Kenyan shillings, depending on how much you want to spend, how much you want to stay. So with 2,000 or 3,000, you're good to go. Let me talk about transportation. Transportation in Nairobi is widely available. We have Ubers, we have Bolt, we have taxis, we have Matatu, we have Bodaboda, which is motorbikes. We have like every other means of transport around Nairobi. And so for me, mostly I use Uber and Matatu. Rarely I use motorbikes. And one thing about motorbikes is that you can even book them on Uber. I think that transport is very cheap because let's say for like a 15 minutes drive, you pay like 350 Kenyan shillings, which is like $2.5 US, which is really cheap. I mean, it's not that expensive. Matatus cost from 20 Kenyan shillings to 150 Kenyan shillings on peak seasons because transportation of Matatu will change depending on the season and if it's raining and all that. So with that, you have to be aware of. But motorbikes, the price will range. So you can just check on Uber and Uber will tell you how much you need to pay. So let's talk about internet and network. Guys, I've traveled to different countries in Africa. I've been to more than 6 countries in Africa, but I think Nairobi wins my heart. And I'm not saying this because I'm a Kenyan, but I think it's because internet in Kenya is more reliable, is more stable, and they have even 5G network. Network is the best thing that you'll ever find in Nairobi. You don't have to worry about it. They have monthly subscription or you can buy SIM card. The best SIM card that I can recommend for someone to buy is called Safaricom. They have 5G network, and also it depends with the kind of phone that you're using if it supports 5G network. The subscription, if you want to get like reliable network for your house or something, for people who are working online like me, I'm a YouTuber, I have a network that I'm using in my house. We have different options. We have like Zuku, we have Poor Internet, we have Safaricom network, and we have other different companies that you can pay monthly subscription. For example, for me, I use Poor Internet, which is really reliable. I was earlier using Zuku, but Zuku is highly affected by the weather. When it rains, because they use a satellite, when it rains, then the network goes low and starts lagging and all that. But for the Poor Internet or Safaricom Internet, I haven't had any problems and it's really cheap. For like the one that I'm using, I pay 1,500 Kenyan shillings per month, and then for Safaricom, if you're going to take that one, you're going to pay 3,000 Kenyan shillings per month. Do you know that Kenya has the best means of transport when it comes to flights and trains? Literally, you can fly from one point of Kenya to another. Kenya is well known to have international flights, different international airport like Kenyatta International Airport, Moi International Airport, Kisumu International Airport, and different areas. For example, if you want to go to the coast, you either fly or go with a bus or go with a train, which they call SGR train, which is really cheap. To cost you like around $50 or $60, which is around 9,000, depending on the exchange rate at that time. But you can check it's really cheap, less than $70 or $80 to fly to Mombasa one way, or going to other places like Kisumu and all that. And also you can take the train, which is very fast. It's not electric, but it has like a speed of 120 kilometers per hour. I think it's very very fast compared to the buses. It will take you like 8 hours, but if you are going with the train, it will take you 5 hours, and you're going to pay even like less, because you're going to pay like 1,500 Kenya shillings for economy class and 4,500 Kenya shillings for first class. So those are the things that you need to know, that Kenya is very developed when it comes to means of transport, and you don't have to worry if you want to move from one place to another, and if you're a business person and you have meetings and you want to move very fast, then you don't have to worry about that, because the means of transport is widely available. Nairobi is very safe. 80% of every other place is very safe. The only place that I would say is not very safe, I would say like the slums. Those are not safe. But when you're walking around Nairobi, the CBD itself, you're going to Westlands, Karen, Kileleshwa, Lavington, around Nairobi, you feel very safe. People are very talkative. People are very friendly. They want to know where you're coming from, and they will help you anytime that you need help. That's one thing that you have to know. So don't follow the internet, what is telling you about the security of Nairobi. Don't follow that. Listen to me, because I'm a Kenyan and I've been living here. Nairobi is very safe. The other thing that I know you are eager and you want to know is about game drives and safaris and tours that we have, like Masais Mara, Nairobi National Park, and others like Amboseli, Serengeti in Tanzania and all that. So one thing you have to know is Nairobi is the only capital city in the world with a national park. And so depending on the company that you're going to use, then you're going to pay different amounts of money, and depending on the means of transport that you want to go. What I'm trying to mean, for example, I own a tour company called Smily Safaris, and if, for example, you want to go to Masai Mara, depending on the days that you want to go, you're going to pay a certain amount of money, and depending on the means of transport to get you there and the place that you're going to stay in Masai Mara, it will depend. For example, if you want to go to Masai Mara for like 3 days, it will depend if you're going to fly there or you're going to take a land cruiser. If you're going to take a land cruiser, for example, you're going to pay approximately of $600 to $650 for 3 days. So it depends on the seasons as well, because if you want to go to Masai Mara from June onwards, you're going to pay more than $900, because the prices, entrance fees changes according to seasons. Okay, so you have to choose the best company that you want to go with, but for me, I would highly recommend you choose my company, that is Smily Safaris. We'll give you the best rates. And on that part about tours and traveling, let me talk a little bit about Mombasa. Mombasa is very cheap, and you can come from Nairobi to Mombasa with like an airplane, as I talked about it earlier in this video, or the train. And Mombasa is more cheaper, more calm, but very, very hot. But it's well known for the sand beaches, like the white sand beaches. People are friendly, great Swahili food, and people that speak Swahili, they are so nice. Oh my god. And life is more cheaper there compared to Nairobi. Even the housing and means of transport is different. Like the vibe there is just different and so nice, with a lot of culture, a lot of Indians around. So I think it's something that you should try when you come around, because for example, if you want to stay in Mombasa for like 3 days, if you go with Smily Safaris, you spend like $500 to $700 depending on the hotel that you're going to stay and the kind of luxury that you want to stay. The last thing that I will talk about is rent and housing. Then I'm going to give you an average of how much I spend on a monthly basis for myself. So for housing, depends on where you're staying. There are different areas depending on how much money you make in Nairobi. For example, if you want to stay in Westlands, which is one of the highly recommended places to stay for foreigners, you're going to pay exactly the same amount that you pay, for example, in the United States or in Europe, which is approximately from $1,000 to like $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000 a month. If you stay to a place like, if you decide to stay a place like Kileleshwa, Langata, Karen, these different places, it will be either expensive or more depending on the kind of hotel that you choose. But I would recommend choosing your houses on Airbnb or Booking.com. If you want a nicer places, more cheaper than that, please contact me. I have my details there. I can help you find nicer, cheaper places for even less than $500 in a safer area. But this depends on how safe you want to be and the kind of things that you want to have in your house. But I think if you're coming to stay for a short term, then I would recommend staying in Westlands, Karen, these rich areas. But also depends on as I said, the amount of money that you want to spend. But if you want to spend less than $1,000, there are places. Every place, as I said, is more safe, so it depends with you. And if you want to interact with more local, the more your price goes down, the more you'll be interacting with more locals, and more noisier the places will be and more chaotic. That makes sense. But if you go to like those high-end places like Westlands, Karen, and those places, they're more quiet, more safe, and you're going to spend so much money. For example, if you're going to stay in Westlands, approximate of money that you're going to spend, I mean, is around $500,000 Kenyan shillings per month, which is approximately like $3,500 a month or $4,000 a month. So you have to be prepared for that. But for example, where I stay, I spend almost $1,000 a month, which is, sometimes I can go less, sometimes I can go higher, depending on the activities that I'm doing, because I'm a traveler, so I'll be moving in different places. But for an average Kenyan that is living here, most of them stay within $2,000 and below, or I'll say 1,000 and below. So it depends on the kind of life you stay, and even others stay even with less than $200 a month. So it depends on the kind of lifestyle that you want. It can be expensive, it can be cheap, depending on where you want to stay. Okay, so it's all about you. But if you want more details, please let me know in the comment section. If there's anything else that I left behind, or something that I said that you think it needs some correction, please let me know in the comment section as well. And if there's any more details that you want to discuss, like if you want to know more about Smily Safaris, let me know, and you can just contact us on Instagram. There's also my details on my about on this channel. Just check on my channel or contact me on Instagram. I'll let you know more about Smily Safaris and how you can be able to move around Nairobi and Kenya safely. And thank you guys for watching. Please share this video to your friends who want to come to Africa, people want to come to Kenya, and I'll be glad to see you guys around. Okay, please make sure you subscribe, like, and comment on this video. Let me see you on the next one. Bye.